We live? Are we live? Okay, the first task is to make an aircraft to go to the island. We're going to go to the island. I could have moved the map around to show the island. We're going to make an aircraft to go. I'm going to review some of the aircraft we've done and then go to the island. And I'll start a podcast now and mute. Hang on, I haven't got the thing on the screen where it shows me what funds I got. Let me just start that up. I got a page open for that. I got a little Python app that tracks the funds over time. I didn't start it. Hang on, there's a Kerbal funds tracker. Right. There, it should update what's on the screen. It should say that my current funds are 1,287,384. Total session profit 0. It should say that on the screen. Let me just minimize that. Bring that up. There we go. depends if you call that a win or a lose. I just made this just now because I wanted to move stuff over here to the island, just because I found a list of yeah, hi Galaxy Bolt. I found a list tonight where I wrote a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, of stuff I want to do in Kerbal, and one top thing on the list was to make an aircraft and move equipment over to the island runway. This is why I've built this now. Sorry, I was concentrating to get this down. It's good enough, isn't it? I know it could have bigger engines on it, but we'll see if we can take off again on the island airfield. Wonder if there's enough space. Otherwise we might have to have bigger engines on it. I mean, I've got nothing to bring over here yet. Maybe we can make a little rover or something. I've got a docking port in there. We can make a little rover. Oh, what the hell? Oh, door's too open. Right, okay. That's better. That's better. Okay. Yeah. Right, close. Alright, let's try and get it back. If it works, it works, yeah. Wait, why did it start turning then? Why did it start turning? Just making sure the Kerbals can reach it. No, we haven't visited any of the other islands now. We haven't visited any of the other islands. Yeah, any landing you can walk away from is a good one. Yeah, this is the only island we've been to. I haven't been to any of the other islands yet. Maybe we could make a more durable lander and go and try and explore them. I mean, I did think about trying to fly to the other airfields, like the desert airfield. Let's do a quick save. Load the quick save, I mean. And then, but it just takes too long to fly out there. Maybe we need to work on a faster aircraft. I think that's what I was doing offline this morning, early yesterday. I did a small offline trying experiment with. Did I do it on? Did I stream it? I can't remember. All right, we'll try and get out there again now. I like Hyundai. Hello. fine, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, I want to try something. If we recover from here, because if we recover stuff from the runway, we get 100% returned funds. But if we recover stuff from this runway, do we get 100% or not? Well, if we try and recover it from here, we'll find out. If we don't get 100%, we don't get 100%. You know, it's worth finding out. I'll recover it. Well, it says parts. It says, oh, 100% value. It does work. Yeah, we could recover stuff out there. 100% value of parts. Yeah, okay. We got anything second? No, we don't. I'm just wondering about putting flags either side because I got flags at the end to indicate the runways. It makes it easier to land, to find the runways when you're coming in from a distance. So I'm wondering if it's worth putting them out there as well. There's a cat scratching the back of my chair. I think she wants attention, so I go and give her a treat or something. Yeah, she may want to go out. I'll just go and let my cat out for a second. I'll switch back to Kerbal, so if anyone wants to comment on the rover, I know it's not the best rover in the world, but the idea is that we can, if we mount a docking port there, we can actually affix it to the aircraft. You know, if we can raise this up, when we drive it on the aircraft, I'm hoping we can actually get over the docking port. That's the idea anyway, that's the idea I had. Treats have been dispensed. Let me just get back. Put my phone back down. There we go. Right, where were we? There are sounds, there are games, there's just no game sounds, that's all. I don't think it's making any game sounds. We've got the wrong docking port, haven't we? Got the wrong docking port there. No wonder it's not attaching. Oh, I got wrong size docking port. We're gonna have to do it again. Why is that one reel not working? It's broken, that's why we broke a wheel. Oh, okay, we'll have to put a repair kit in here as well. Yeah, it is a bit. It's a really comprehensive game, Kerbal Space Program. It's really good though. It's really good. Recommend Kerbal Space Program to anyone. Yeah, the reason why we're putting a docking port on the bottom of the rover is because when the aircraft is in flight, I don't want it falling around or breaking or causing a problem. I'm not sure if we'll get over the docking port on the floor in the aircraft. We'll just try it. I guess we'll try it. I'm just going to cue something else to listen to on the other monitor. Okay. Oh, we didn't put a repair kit. Oh, that's the other name I use on Twitch. I've been using Sister Lolly for a long time. We're talking about 15, 20 years, but then I changed it about 5 years ago, and I just haven't changed my Redbubble name yet. So that's why I stream on other platforms and been playing multiplayer games with. It's going to keep breaking the wheels every time we go on there, isn't it? Because it's broken that wheel now. So there's some repair kit, so we can repair uses a repair kit. Yeah, it's broken already. See, it's broken. Great. You're going to have to make it narrower. Okay. Broken 2 wheels now. Okay, let's make it narrower. Well, I guess we should have used the smaller docking port. All right, just we'll take a run at it. No, it's not going over. Okay. All right, never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Recover the aeroplane and stick a different docking port on there. Now we've got the opposite problem where the things won't. Oh, great. What are we going to do? What fixes we're going to do? Thing is, we can only spawn one craft at a time on the runway, so we'll have to move the aircraft back over to the taxiway. We've got pilots on board. I had scientists on board just now, and now we've got pilots, because the idea is we'll go over to other places in the world and get science. Got it. It's docked. There we go. All right. Okay. Right. If we go save game, right. Sorry, I accidentally clicked off. Making sure, because I accidentally clicked on OBS. I was just making sure I am. Oh, sorry, I've been talking and I haven't had the microphone on. Sorry, my fault. Vici, yeah, this is Kerbal Space Program. This is Kerbal Space Program. It's quite an old game now. It's not actively developed. We build your own craft, spacecraft. It's a physics sandbox game mainly. but I'm playing a career mode where the money actually is an element of challenge. Yeah, it's not actively developed. It's a physics simulator, a physics sandbox game. There are sandbox modes and other game modes. Yeah, you can build your own aircraft, but it's mainly for spacecraft actually, rather than aircraft, because when you get into space, you actually have to take into account orbital mechanics, proper orbital mechanics, like changing your inclinations and concentrating on apoapsis and periapsis. Yeah, Kerbal Space Program is still available. Available on all sorts of platforms. It's available for Mac, Apple, for Windows and Linux. It's available on all these platforms. All good places. I think it's on GOG. It's on Steam. Though we looked at the Steam price the other day, and it's quite expensive. It is quite expensive. I mean, it was much cheaper back in the day, but yeah. And once we land, I can show you if you stay long enough. I don't know if I'll even land this. I can go into space and show you the spacecraft I've got, and the space stations, and how it's yeah, and how spaceflight works. But spaceflight works different than other games because it tries to simulate accurate physics in space. And you might notice down here I'm adjusting trim as well, so it is like more accurate flight simulator as well, because I'm see the pitch isn't in the center, the elevator pitch, so I'm adjusting trim as well. But you can crash and break stuff as well. Hopefully I don't break this landing. We broke... Oh! It spoke too soon. Alright, we won't be taking off from this place then. Oh, great. Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. Okay. I'll recover this now. I'll recover this back to the space center. Yeah, I crashed a bit. I broke the back off it. See what I've got? I've got a rover in here, and yeah, I wanted to bring the rover over to the island. Let's recover the vessel. Because it's quite a big game, the loading screens are slow, and the loading screens get slower as you go on, as it's open. So sometimes you need to restart the game. Like if I go, how does it even still taxiable after you crash? Well, I only broke the back off, because if you go because the aircraft are made of individual parts, they're not solid machines. See that crash then? I just broke some individual parts. So if we go into one of the construction buildings, right, if we go new, right here, we get like a cockpit. There you go, there's a cockpit. And fuel tanks, let's grab some fuel tanks. There's a fuel tank there. You know, I can stick these pieces together like this. See? And then it just broke one of these pieces. That's what it did just now. And you've got engines, rocket engines, and things like that. You go and you can just piece stuff together. That's how it works. And these little characters called Kerbals, and they man the aircraft and man the vehicles you build. It's not a perfect Earth simulation. It's like what, in order to make it a bit easier for the simulator, the air is still. There's no wind. Also, the whole planet is only a sixth the size of Earth. The land masses don't have much on them. Just make it an easier simulation. Otherwise, the amount of calculations the game would have to do is just massive. However, there's a huge community of modders. There's a huge community of modders which have made like Earth-like planets and mods for the game. If we go to one of the space stations, I can show you what it's like in space. All right. The green lines are the communications because you can go out to communication if you've got like a robotic rover or something or a satellite, and it can be out of communication, like hidden by satellites and asteroids. So the green lines are just lines of communication, like a communications network. The ferret. Yeah, loading screens aren't the fastest in the world. The up here where I've got the money, that's actually one of my Python scripts. So this is one of the spacecraft. This is a lander. It's a lander I use to land on the moons, because this Kerbin, the planet is called Kerbin, and this Kerbin has got 2 moons. You got Minmus, and you have the moon, M-U-N, moon. Right, Minmus is the moon is at on perfect equatorial orbit, so that one is easy to get around, but it's not as easy to land on because it's got higher gravity. Whereas Minmus has got lower gravity, but it might be more difficult to get to. That's 6 degrees out of phase with the equator. See, Minmus. This is one of my landers on one of the space tugs. There's fuel to take into account. There's no Kerbals aboard this at the moment. You've got things like repair kits and science kits you can carry. You've got to take into account communications aerials if you want to send data back. And you also got power as well. So you've got solar panels to take care of. It's quite a complex game, but it's brilliant because when you achieve something like landing on a moon or landing on Minmus for the first time, it's an incredible experience because you've actually achieved something. You're not allowing games or fake physics to do it for you, because it's like a real achievement, And with the aircraft and with the spacecraft, you've got to take into account center of gravity, center of mass, and the thrust lines, and all sorts of things. There's RCS as well as main engines. RCS, if I press R to put the RCS on, you've got like retro control thrusters. You've got that as well. So you have, like on the keyboard, I've got use WASD for roll and yaw and pitch, but I've also got access to IKJL and H and N, and those are translational controls, forward and back and sideways, up and down. It's like a lot of real spacecraft, how you control them. You've actually got 2 sticks. One will be for roll controls, and the other one controls, and the other one would be for translational controls. So yeah, it's a good game. It's a really good game. Absolutely recommend Kerbal to anyone. In fact, there are better streamers, much better streamers than me. EJSA and Rover Dude, Scott Manley, and lots of them use Kerbal Space Program. What can we do? This is probably my most impressive station at the moment. Is this one? The most impressive space station. anyone can remember, if anyone knows where I got the idea for this design from, it's got Kerbals aboard. See, these are Kerbals here. This should be full of fuel. Yeah, it's full of fuel. Where are we looking? Where are we looking? We could do a launch, couldn't we? If we go back to the Space Center, we could do a launch. How long have I been streaming for? I've been streaming for 2 hours 48 minutes. Yeah, we've been messing with that aircraft for a while, haven't we? Okay, we got contracts. We can get contracts here to get more money as well. Rescue a Kerbal or science. Repair a satellite, rescue. Science data. You get tourist ones as well. You've got to take tourists. Recover module from orbit of Kerbin. Should we try that? But I don't know how big the module is because sometimes you have big junk components to bring back. We could rescue a Kerbal, can we? Yeah, the names are made up. They just like make up the names of the Kerbals. This is just a generated Kerbal. Because I can show you that if we go here to the where is it? Astronaut complex. These are the Kerbals. Where you can hire. These are the Kerbals I've hired. Well, I've hired, but when you rescue a Kerbal from orbit, they become one of your pilots. You've got scientists and you've got pilots and engineers. The engineers can fix stuff if you break it. The pilots can pilot stuff. But I use a lot of robot cores, like probe cores, where you can pilot stuff without a pilot on board. And you've got scientists to gather science. And you've got level of experience and things like that. Courage, stupidity. Right, what can we do? We could just launch some Kerbals and see what happens, couldn't we? Yeah, loading is a bit slow. So if I go 116, 116, B4 I think it is. These are all different versions of rockets I've got. There you go. Solid rocket motors, and you've got liquid fuel there, and you've got a spacecraft. It's not a particularly good spacecraft, but it'll do for this demonstration. You can bung some Kerbals aboard. Who are my unexperienced Kerbal, so we can take up? There you go. Sidbold has got no experience at all, no stars. So just stick some random Kerbals aboard. You've got engineer. We'll stick a scientist up there. Random scientist. And another pilot. Okay. Well, you can change flags as well. Got different flags. You can customize the flags yourself. Customize your flags. Like I've got St. David's there. Like Hyogen. Got Flag of Glamorgan. Some of my drawings. What are we going to choose? Where's Tottery? I had Tottery there. You got Tottery again. Is the microphone still on? Yeah, sometimes I mute the microphone and I forget that I've muted. I mean, 2 hours 53 streaming. I probably won't go on for much, for more than half an hour longer, and my legs are aching because I'm sitting awkwardly on the chair because there's a cat on the buffet under my desk, so I can't stretch out at the moment. Right. So SAS is like an autopilot system. RCS is the RCS thrusters, so I can turn them on like TTRR, T. A quick save with F5. Right. The way I've got this rocket set up is I don't need throttle on. Start throttle's going to be all the way down because the liquid fuel rocket in the center is throttleable. These rockets here are solid fuel, so they're not throttleable. So I hit space. These are on the left. You've got the staging. You can set up the staging when you build vehicles, and you hit space to activate stage. The numbers here, the amount of delta V you've got, this amount of movement change you can do. Off we go. It's not automated because I'm manually controlling this now, but there are mods to automate this and automate the launch sequences. There's the island where we just were. Oh, there's debris on the island from when we crashed earlier. So apoapsis is what I'm looking at down here in the bottom left-hand corner, because once you get over 70,000 kilometers or meters, that's when you're 70,000 meters. That's when you're in space. So I'm aiming for 80,000. That's what I do. That's where I circularize at 80,000. That's just my personal preference. Yeah, we did the gravity turn a bit early, so we turned horizontal a bit earlier this time. You see apoapsis there. $77, $78, $79, $80 throttle down. Get it to hold prograde. Hold prograde so it will stay in the direction we're facing. Apoapsis is at 80,000. We're currently 56,000 meters. So there's our current altitude, and that's where we are. We'll do a circularization burn when we reach apoapsis. So that means we'll raise the periapsis. Once the periapsis gets over 70,000, we're in orbit. Yeah, the reason why I've got little wings here on the center of the booster stage is because I try to recover the boosters by flying them back. That's just one of the design changes I made, because in the career game, which I play, you get money back from recovered parts. If you recover parts back to the Space Center, you can get money back from them. But if you play the just sandbox mode, money has no meaning in the game, so you can play it however you like. It's just an extra challenge. There are time warps. You can speed up time. But as you speed up time, you get little errors. The time up here can go red, and so it can introduce physics errors. So you can't. So speeding up time too much can cause problems with the game, because it's doing a lot of calculations, a lot of physics calculations. There's more complex under the surface than it initially looks. So let's go out here, and we'll see the periapsis rays out of the planet now. Keep looking at the figures down here. There we go. Now they're both over. There we go, more or less. Right, 90. Our apoapsis is 90,000, and our periapsis is 77,000. We're in orbit. Bang. So we can get rid of that. Extend the solar panels. Now I play mostly with stock parts because there's so many. There's a huge plethora of all modded parts you can get for the game. I play with mostly stock parts. The only stock part I haven't got on this rocket is these aviation lights. That's the only modded part I've got. All the rest is done with stock parts. So only those aviation lights. So I got green on one side and red on the other, so you can tell which way things are around. Because this is upside down at the moment. Because you need to know which way is up to control pitch. We'll come back and get that later and fly it back. There we go, we're in orbit. We've got a load of fuel on board. We've got a couple of Kerbals. The Kerbal's there's a Kerbal there. That's what they're carrying. The Kerbals are carrying. Kerbals are down here. Let's choose a Kerbal. Hadio. Okay. The Kerbals can EVA. They can go out. You can let go. There you go. And the Kerbals are floating in space. The Kerbals have got little RCS packs. Got little RCS packs, but the Kerbals have got fuel on the RCS packs as well. Oh, I don't know why it's not working. Got rotational controls. There you go. And grab back on. I don't want to lose a Kerbal. Yeah, it's a good game. Thoroughly enjoy Kerbal Space Program. Okay, what I'm going to do now, we could get this to a space station. The ferret was the lander I got. That's why I called it. Well, you got an Eiffel there as one of the tugs. I think Eiffel's broken. It's got something broken on it. Yeah, I named my tugboats the tugs after engineers. There's one there called Gustav Eiffel. And one's called Brunel, the other one's called Telford. Because you can name your spacecraft and you've got so much freedom. Cafe Alpha is one of the space stations. Where is the ferret? The ferret was the lander we looked at earlier. So yeah, it's over there. It's quite far away. Set as target. Okay, if I set it as target, it shows the inclination difference. Like blue line is our orbital line, and this yellow line is the orbit line of our target. If I right click by here on the ascending node, it shows our orbits are 0.4 degrees out. So if we try to raise our orbit to meet it, it's going to be extremely difficult to align with it, to formate alongside the target, or in this case the ferret. So what I'll have to do first is do an inclination change. It is possible, like in real life, to do an inclination change and do an orbit change at the same time, but it's more difficult. You've got to point in slightly awkward directions. So I tend to do the inclination change before changing the orbit because it's just easier. It uses up a tiny bit more fuel, but it's easier, and it's more forgiving if you have a problem. So we need to do an ascending change. So I need to point down, so that pointing towards the South Pole, because this orbit here is ascending in relative to the orbit we want to get onto. So if we do a down change here, it'll change the orbit over here. It won't make any difference to the position we are here, but it makes a position over there. Gyroscopic precession is the sort of term we use. Smarter Every Day has done several videos lately, which recently, which are the same sort of effect of discus, where you make a change at one point, you apply a force at one point on a circle, on a plane, and the effect actually comes somewhere else. It's the same with orbital mechanics. So I'm going to be pointing down anti-normal. If I go switch back to we're pointing towards the South Pole, and this is an ascending node. So that means this side of the orbit is actually higher than this side of the orbit. So if we do a burn here, it'll lower this part of the orbit. Like 90 degrees further on, it will lower this part of the orbit. There's much better explanations in Smarter Everyday videos. He's done several recently where he did a contraption in the garage. What's his name? Destin. I can't remember his surname. But it's the same with orbital mechanics. So I right click, warp to this position. Right, when we get close, the more effect it has, the closer we are to the node, it'll have a greater effect. So I'm starting the engines now. The engines are going, see? And we've got to keep watching. 0.1 has to get to 0. There you go, 0. Right, stop the engines, turn the RCS on, and just fine tune with the RCS. Retro control thrusters. And turn the retro control thrusters off so we're not wasting fuel. The RCS thrusters use a different fuel as well. We've got the main liquid fuel tanks here for the main engines, but we've got monopropellant down here as a different tank, and that's what the RCS thrusters use. So you've got to take this into account. Okay, if we go prograde, that means facing the direction of orbit we're doing. Prograde. Now it's the same sort of thing. We can do a burn on this side of the planet, and what it'll do, it'll raise the orbit on the opposite side. And it's not going to change the orbit where we are. Like if we do a forward burn here, the orbit will actually raise over there. I'll demonstrate that now. And it'll show an indication when the orbits of our targets cross. See, the apoapsis is rising. See, yeah, our current altitude is not changing, but the apoapsis is rising because we're doing a burn. See, the engines are going. I just started the engines up. Is the microphone still on? Yeah, the microphone's still on. I haven't muted it. I forget I muted it sometimes. Or forget I've unmuted it as well. There we go. So we have our orbit crosses at that point and our orbit crosses at this point. So we know that our orbit with our target, because we're on exactly the same inclination, we actually cross the orbit of our target. So I can set a maneuver node here and a couple of orbits in future, and then this. So when we pass one of these points, our target is going to be at the other point. But if we do a burn at this particular point, we can bring our targets together so we actually meet. So if I did that burn now I've just prepared, it will be just 200 meters away from our target. So real orbital mechanics works. Okay. So warp to next maneuver. Oh, not because we don't have a long burn to do. I'm just going to wait till we move a little bit closer to the node. See, as we pass there, we're supposed to be going at the maneuver must be completed already. Okay. Oh, there we go. Perfect. 200. Excuse me, I'm burping. Sorry. Right. Yeah. As we pass that point in the next orbit around, we'll be just 200 meters from our target. So what I'm going to do is change this mode down here from surface to target. So rather than being our orbit, the DAV ball will now show our position relative to our target, not relative to the planet. So if we warp to here, right, and then set that retrograde, that's retrograde relative to our target. So if we do a retrograde burn which is relative to our target, we can match its speed, and once our speed is identical, then we can come alongside it. And we'll see our target appear now. It should be the ferret we saw earlier. Yeah, the ferret. The ferret is what I call the landers. The landers are named after mustelids, and this one's the ferret. And I named the tugs after engineers. This thing doesn't have a name though. I just called it number 116B4, but it's just given a number. See, we've got a 111 meter per second difference in speed, so I'm going to start burning off speed now before we get too close to it. Now, in real life, you wouldn't be firing main engines close to other spacecraft. You'd only be using small RCS. Because the exhaust of the main engines can damage other spacecraft. But in Kerbal, you've got the freedom not to do that. You can just blast main engines next to anything. There we go. Matching our speed, 0.6 meters per second difference. There you go. 0 meters per second difference. We're now alongside it. We'll stay alongside it for quite a while in this orbit because our difference in speed is 0 meters per second compared to our target. So when you're in orbit, any change in speed, forward, backward, whatever, will change your orbit. Remember, it's going to change your orbit further along. And the closer you are to the planet, the faster you're going. But you're actually, the slower you're going, but you're doing faster orbits. If you're closer to the planet, yeah, it messes with your head sometimes. There are plenty of videos and other YouTubers on YouTube and on Twitch and other platforms that can explain Kerbal and orbital mechanics far better than I can. People like Scott Manley, because Scott Manley he's a professional. He knows what he's talking about. He's worked with space agencies and been with, but he worked for Apple for years, and he's been an advisor on television programs, space television programs and stuff. And yet he uses Kerbal Space Program. You can see I'm using rotational controls as well as translational controls. Translational controls is like where you move the whole craft up and down without changing the direction you're facing. And rotational controls is where you rotate it on the spot. There are control wheels inside some of the command pods, so you can actually change your rotation without firing the RCS thrusters, but it does use electrical power. And of course, if you use the RCS thrusters, you're using fuel. These flying surfaces are moving, but they have no effect in space. That'll be for when we're deorbiting this, because we can deorbit this. So the yellow thing here is the direction we're moving in. That's what we're moving towards. The pink thing on the nav ball is the target. So if we move that into the target, we know we're moving towards our target. So see my things on the nav ball? And we got this down here, we can face target. That's usually easier. But early game, you don't have these controls here, like automatic controls of facing target and facing prograde and retrograde. That's why you need the pilots, and the pilots with more experience can give you these controls here, the Kerbals. It should be hands off. It should go big. There you go, easy. Well, it's not easy. It takes a lot of trial and error, because Kerbal is well, when you're learning Kerbal, you tend to break a lot of stuff, and it takes a long time to get to the point where you can do this sort of thing. So right, we're not going to use that fuel tank with this, because that fuel tank we're going to use for deorbit. I'm going to bring that up, and we'll start filling this with fuel now. Start filling this with fuel, because this doesn't have fuel in it. Yeah, the fuel transfer is something that's unrealistic. In real life, you can't really do fuel transfer like this between spacecraft. That's a bit unrealistic, because spacecraft in real life would have to bring their own fuel up. Though there are companies and organizations and projects to try and transfer fuel in real life, but I don't think it's actually ever been done in orbit. Well, that's one of the quality of life things for Kerbal. You can transfer fuel between spacecraft. Because these are liquid fuel rocket engines, you've got liquid fuel and oxidizer, but that when you use the jet engines will just use the liquid fuel. Liquid fuel, I suppose, is equivalent to kerosene. You know, like SpaceX rockets, they use liquid kerosene and and an oxidizer, oxygen. I mean, Falcon 9 does, isn't it? That's kerosene, isn't it? So Keralox rocket. All right. That's all the fuel we got. This is not full of fuel. We'll have to do another trip up here at some other point to bring fuel to it, or we could take it to one of the space stations. Like F5 for a quick save. And because we got fuel in this tank, we can come back, because I've designed this to come back. We won't leave a Kerbal behind. We'll bring the Kerbals back with us. Undock. So we can switch between craft. Make sure the SAS is on there so it doesn't go out of control. Let's move away from it. Make sure the SAS is on. Yeah. Right, and then we'll set retrograde now and trying to come back. I'll bring the orbit down to 80 by 80, and 80,000 periapsis and 80,000 apoapsis, and that's the orbit from which I do the deorbit burn. Now, like I said before, in real life you would not start a main engine next to any other spacecraft because the exhaust can damage stuff. But in Kerbal, well, it doesn't matter. So I'm just watching the periapsis figures go down by here. You can watch it in orbit as well. There's the periapsis there. See, I'm waiting for 80,000. I know I could go at a faster throttle, but I wanted to be able to cut it off quickly. The throttle position is by here. 89, 86, 85, 84, 83, 82, 81. That'll do. 81 will do. Right, if we walk by here, remember we'll do another retrograde burn, and it'll affect the apoapsis because it's on the other side of the planet, like I was trying to explain earlier. It won't affect our position where we are very much. If we do the burn at periapsis, it'll change the apoapsis. The apoapsis is the highest point in the orbit. The periapsis is the lowest point in the orbit. And if the periapsis goes below 70,000, that's when you're in the atmosphere. You start deorbiting a bit faster than you may want. Is the microphone still on? Yeah, I'm just checking the microphone. Wait till we reach periapsis and I'll do a burn now. As we move past periapsis, it will change a little bit, but not a huge amount. The maximum difference will be on the opposite side of the orbit. There you go, 81 by 80. That's enough. We can deorbit from there. Press F5 for a quick save in case anything goes wrong. It does go wrong. Things do go wrong, and things will go wrong in Kerbal. It's part of the game. Right, you've got this big crater on Kerbin here. I tend to do the deorbit burn right by these rocks. I believe they put the crater in there to show you where to do certain deorbit burns in game, but I find I have more success going for these rocks here, using these rocks as a guide. Starting the deorbit burn about here. We'll set retrograde and do a warp to here. this craft we've got, this crew or Diopter, is not that good. It can get the Kerbals down. I've got better ones which are more flyable back. I mean, that's one of the things I got on my to-do list. Make a better spacecraft that we can get into orbit and actually glide or fly back. It's on my to-do list. All right, press F5 for a quick save. Right, there's the Space Center. We'll try and get back to the Space Center now. The closer we are to the Space Center, the more money we can get back from recovered parts. And I've landed a little base across the water there so we can see it. Because when we're in dark, when we're in the night, it's hard to see. So yeah, I've landed a little base there. There's the island we were earlier, and there's the Space Center. See now, our orbit is in the planet now, so we're going to be deorbiting. Once we go below 70,000, we're in the atmosphere. Okay, right. Retract the solar panels. It's my little Tottery flag. Tottery. I went to Tottery in 2020. It seems a little while ago. Yeah, Tottery is a real place. Tottery Ken. There's a small city called Tottery. I've been there. I really like Tottery. It's a really nice place. Okay, what I will do here is I'll bring up these so I can shift fuel around between the fuel tanks, so I can change the center of gravity. This one isn't particularly very well set up. It's not very well made. So ideally I'd have another fuel tank at the front so I can shift the center of gravity further up. But what I'll probably do at one point is move the fuel to this, shift fuel to this, to move the center of gravity so it gives us more control authority. But this particular craft doesn't do that very well. It doesn't have much control authority at all. I mean, it's just a mishmash of pieces and stuff. It just works, and I don't want to remake it yet. But I suppose that's one of the things we can do in the future. We can make a newer version of this. Because it's a bit hard to get back because there's a mountain range in front of the Space Center, and sometimes that's an obstacle to overcome. Okay, I'm going to fire the engines a little bit so it brings this point of contacts going. But this point of contact is going to start moving over here because we've got atmospheric drag now anyway. So we'll be slowing down a little bit faster than what the engines can provide because we do have atmospheric drag. Space Center is by here. I'll click on one of the flags at the Space Center. Yeah, this machine's not that good. We don't have much control. There goes one of the flags at the Space Center. If I move the fuel between the other tank, we'll try and fly towards the Space Center. Slow down, slow down. Heating is a problem, and if you go too fast, you can heat and break stuff. Overheating becomes a problem. And now in real life, this sort of heating is far more of a problem because, well, the planet's bigger and got a thicker atmosphere than Kerbal does. Yeah, I was hoping to slow down faster than this. I've got to try and get as close to the runway as possible. Alright. we're coming down a bit fast. Alright, we'll bail out by here. There we go. Yeah, we tend to lose electric power by here. Extend solar panel. So the electric charge is going down. We don't have much electric charge left. If we have no electric charge, we can't control anything. I'm looking at the electric charge. The electric charge is down. Okay. Yeah, electric charge just went off, didn't it? Kerbals are back. Now we've got two options. We can do a recover vessel from here, but we won't get the maximum from what. Oh look, we broke the engine on the back. All right, never mind. Yeah, we could recover vessel from here, which won't give us the maximum money for all the parts. I've built vehicles to go out here and pick things up, so we could do that. So go back to the space center. What's the time? The time is 4:58 in the morning, and we've been streaming for 3 hours 30 minutes. Okay, where are we? Go back to the space plane hangar. Open. I've got a recovery ship. This thing, recovery recover face. I know, it's just makes you laugh. I've got another version of this where I've tried to make it fly. And bring some engineers aboard in case it breaks. Come on, load. No, it is going. Right, break. Quick save. Start the engines up. I'm going to get this to the water. Let me start the podcast I was listening to again. Oh, has it crashed? Kerbal has crashed. Kerbal has crashed. Yeah, it's not doing anything. I was just waiting to crash to the desktop. Again, Kerbal is quite an old piece of software, and it's doing a lot. It's the engine and the stuff under the surface is doing a lot. It looks like I'm gonna have to